Hello everyone! Do you want to design a new project, but you want to ensure that your beneficiaries are involved right from the start? Or perhaps you want to find out a bit more about co-production, what it is and how to do it? Let's find out why co-producing your projects is for you. You lovely non-profit people. I'm Louise from the Social Strategy Cafe and it's lovely to have you here. This channel provides tools and tips for strategically developing your non-profit. So it doesn't matter whether you're running an NGO, whether you're running a charity or you're starting a social enterprise. So you may have heard of co-production, but what exactly is it? And why should you use it when designing your projects? Grab yourself a cuppa and let's take a look. Co-production is when you design a project or a service together with the people who are going to use it, as well as your stakeholders. But it doesn't just start with the design. It flows from before the project is created right through to the process of project delivery and is ongoing. This means that the project or service is refined and adjusted together with your beneficiaries and stakeholders so that it keeps improving as time goes on to even better meet your beneficiaries' needs. The co-production process continues into and beyond the monitoring and evaluation stages so that your beneficiaries and your stakeholders have full ownership of your project and everyone can understand what is working and what didn't work as well and why. There are a variety of definitions of co-production, but it's probably easiest to refer to this broad definition created by the National Lottery Fund in the United Kingdom. They suggest that co-production is co-creating services involving service recipients in different stages of the process, including planning, design, delivery, and audit of a public service. Perhaps the most important way to think about co-production is not about consulting people, but about sharing power. So why is co-production the best approach to designing a new project or service? So the idea behind co-producing projects and services is that the people with lived experience, or the people who have experienced the problem you are trying to solve, are the ones who are best placed to know what would have helped them and will know how best to design the project so that it has the most impact. Involving your beneficiaries and those with lived experience of the issue you are trying to solve make the services that you are designing a much better fit for the people who will be using them. Beneficiaries find that the services are then more accessible, more authentic, and more responsive to their particular needs. The benefits of co-production are not only that the services will better meet your beneficiaries' needs, which increases the positive impact of your project, but beneficiaries find that the process of co-production can have a powerful impact on them as it increases their self-worth and confidence. Co-production removes the paternalistic nature of charitable services and projects and regards beneficiaries as the experts. It can help beneficiaries to recognise the value of their own, perhaps difficult, personal circumstances, rather than regarding them as something that needs to be fixed or treated, and consequently offers beneficiaries more agency in their lives. But your beneficiaries are not the only ones who benefit from the co-production process. Staff who are working on the project and your stakeholders, who may be partners in the project, find that co-producing the service means that they have to be open to developing a wider skill set and a different outlook, which, although challenging, offers a new and more enhanced way of working. Imagine, for example, your beneficiaries taking part in staff induction training so that they are sharing how life feels for them as soon as your new staff begin working for your organisation. Co-production is about facilitating rather than leading, and it needs staff to be empathetic and able to put themselves in their beneficiaries' shoes. Co-production helps the professionals involved to reflect and to think about their roles and approach in new ways. And it also reinforces and refreshes the enthusiasm that professionals have for their work. Before we go any further, I just want to raise a few potential issues. Co-production requires all participants to be respectful of each other. Power dynamics and politics can disrupt the co-production process. But although co-production is challenging, this doesn't mean that we shouldn't do it. As we know, any change is hard, but we just need to emphasise the importance of equality and reciprocity, of utilising everyone's strengths, of understanding that while any process is imperfect, we can always keep trying to improve as we move forward. So how should you do it? Well, here are the 4 basic steps. 1. Co-design the project together. 2. Implement the project together. 3. Continue to review and adjust the project together. And 4. Evaluate the project together. A few tips recommended by the National Lottery Community Fund in the UK are to keep the process fluid and ongoing. Don't think about co-production as a one-off activity, but a process that's embedded into your organisation. The way it's done and the level of involvement will depend on your beneficiaries and your stakeholders. Co-production is not a process that you can get right or wrong, but instead it's a process that you develop, you refine and you improve as you go. Just keep that mindset of continuous improvement. Keep checking in with people to get their feedback and make improvements as you go. Stay fresh, open and welcoming. Encourage different people to participate and keep things focused on them. Recognise that there's a role for everyone and develop the culture where it's okay to ask questions, to challenge in a nice way, and discuss contrasting views and experiences. Be open and honest about expectations and realities. You will need buy-in from all levels and embed the right mindset and behaviours. Sharing the responsibility and ownership of your project and viewing lived experience as an asset are fundamental to making co-production meaningful. Mind, a mental health charity in the UK, recommends paying your beneficiaries to be involved. They say that it's important to remind people that their time and their input is valued. They also recommend that you play to each other's strengths and create equal relationships between people with lived experience and your staff and stakeholders. Mind also recommends that you have robust terms of reference that are agreed at the beginning with everyone involved, and a robust planning mechanism. Remember, your project must be co-produced in ways that works for your organisation, your beneficiaries and your stakeholders, and don't be afraid of getting it wrong. Working in new ways can be demanding, so just keep improving and keep your organisation, staff and beneficiaries moving forward. You may find that drawing your beneficiaries into your co-production process once they have experienced the service makes it easier for them to think about ways of remodelling it, rather than doing it theoretically. You can think about drawing co-production into your processes in the following ways. 1, through design, the programs, the projects, the activities. 2, through the decision making, governance, commissioning, funding and recruitment. 3, through delivery, services and activities, outreach, engagement and specific roles like volunteers and peer mentors. 4, through research, evaluation, peer research, quality assurance. And 5, voice, awareness raising, advocacy, influencing and media. If you're still a little unsure, let me share 2 examples where co-production worked really well. My first example comes from a charity in the UK called Break. Break charity runs children's homes. The young people living in these homes often struggle to develop the skills needed to get into work. This often prevented them from getting a job or from keeping a job. Many of the young people also had emotional problems, so they found life extra difficult. So let's meet Jack. Jack wasn't in a very good place. He'd had a couple of jobs, but he didn't get treated very well, and he ended up getting fired. Jack is an example of the young people in Break's children's homes. Jack's experience is so common, and so Break needed to come up with something that would help young people like Jack to give them the first step up the ladder. Break's idea was a work experience mobile coffee vehicle called Coffee Break, where young people could book training time on the van and learn how to behave with customers and how to make fabulous coffee. So far so good, you say, but where's the co-production? Don't worry, it's coming up. So Break obtained funding for a feasibility study of the project, where the young people themselves would undertake the research and the feasibility study. The young people initially took part in team building and confidence boosting activities. Then they worked with professionals and academics from the local university business school to conduct the feasibility study. They were paid for their time and offered food and transport. They were also supported by Break staff. The young people came up with a slogan for the Coffee Break project: nurturing the skills for a meaningful future. And at the end, they gave a presentation of their feasibility study findings to Break staff and stakeholders. On the strength of this, funding was acquired to purchase the van and recruit a project manager. The project manager, Joe, then worked with other young people to research and undertake all the tasks that were needed to get the project off the ground. The young people helped to find the right van, the right equipment, the equipment design within the van, the sales software, the items that they would sell, licensing, and so on. Once the van was purchased and refurbished, young people booked time on the van and learned how to make amazing coffee for customers. Jack tells us how different he feels now after having his experience on Coffee Break. He felt much more confident and accomplished, and it gave him the opportunity to apply for a new job, which he was awarded. Break Charity managed to be successful in their marketing as well because of the co-produced project, and they subsequently gained new partners and sponsors on the strength of it. But young people remain at the heart of the project, and it continues to develop and evolve to this day. But this is just one example of how you can co-produce a project. Let's look at another one. My second example of co-production is a school in Thailand. The Mechai Bamboo School in Thailand is run by the children who attend it. At the Mechai Bamboo School, the children are in charge. They take assembly, they check that each pupil is wearing the right school uniform. Teachers take the classes, but a student council makes the school rules and enforces discipline. There are also operating committees for each aspect of school functioning. Students do the recruitment, deciding which pupils and teachers can join the school. The main values that they look for in these interviews are not academic, but rather their sharing and caring capacity, and most vitally their honesty. This system tends to make very mature, well-balanced and productive graduates. Students even grow their own food, such as mushrooms and vegetables, in hydroponic gardens, and go shopping in the market to get the rest of the food for the day, which is then served up by the senior students at mealtimes. Students wash up their own dishes, which are then checked by other students. If it's not clean enough, they are sent back to wash them up again. The school philosophy, according to the founder, is to develop the students' character, their academic skills, their occupational skills, their values, their maturity, and to create the best citizens. The school doesn't charge fees, but the students have to do hundreds of hours of community service every year and plant hundreds of trees. Because of the success of this co-produced model, over 200 other schools in Thailand are copying this approach in their schools. So there are lots of different models of co-production, and it's important that you choose the right one for you and your organisation. Just remember to keep thinking about new ways to engage people and how you can continuously improve. SCI, the Social Care Institute for Excellence in the UK, makes some recommendations when it comes to co-production, which I suggest you work towards. SCI splits their recommendations into 4 categories: culture, structure, practice and review. These recommendations are really useful to keep referring back to as you move forward in your organisation's co-production journey. And if you can manage to make this transition all at once, good for you, but it's more likely that you'll start small and then grow to incorporate all of these ideas. The most important thing is that you start. I'll just go through size recommendations. So culture. Ensure that co-production runs through the culture of your organisation. Ensure that this culture is built on a shared understanding of what co-production is, a set of principles for putting the approach into action, and the benefits and outcomes that will be achieved with the approach. Ensure that your organisation develops a culture of being risk-aware rather than risk-averse. So in structure, involve everyone who will be taking part in co-production right from the start. Value and reward people who take part in the co-production process. Ensure that there are resources to cover the cost of co-production activities. Ensure that co-production is supported by a strategy that describes how things are going to be communicated. Build on existing structures and resources. And under practice, ensure that everything in the co-production process is accessible to everyone taking part and nobody is excluded. Ensure that everyone involved has enough information to take part in co-production and decision making. Ensure that everyone involved is trained in the principles and values of co-production and is supported in developing any new skills they will need for the work that they do. Ensure that frontline staff are given the opportunity to work using co-production approaches with time, resources and flexibility. Provide any support that's necessary to make sure that the community involved has the capacity to be part of the co-production process. Ensure that policies and procedures promote the commissioning of services that use co-production approaches. Ensure that there are policies for co-production in the actual process of commissioning. Under review, conduct regular reviews to ensure that co-production is making a real difference and that the process is following the agreed principles. Co-produce reviews and evaluations. Use the review findings to improve ways of applying the principles of co-production so that continuous learning is taking place. During reviews and evaluations, work with people who draw on care and support and carers to think about ways of showing the impact that co-production has, as well as the processes that are involved. If you're interested in a co-production STAR toolkit to help you get started, then Governance International has developed one, and I'll put a link below in the description box. Quick conclusion. Co-production means involving people with lived experience and those who use your services in the creation, implementation and monitoring of your project. You can also think about it as sharing power in the design and implementation of your services with those who will benefit. The co-production process needs to be embedded throughout your organisation, and it should start before the project idea is created and continue all the way through to monitoring and evaluation. It is vitally important that the reciprocity and equality for all participants, no matter what their experience is recognised to remove potential conflict and counteract the existing power dynamics. Although this can be challenging for professionals and stakeholders, it not only improves the impact of your service and the lives of your beneficiaries, but it also improves the skills of your staff. So it is certainly worth thinking about how you can increase the use of co-production in your organisation. Thank you to all you lovely non-profit people for watching. If you have any suggestions for a video you'd like to see, please let me know in the comments below. Have a great week.